All right, looks like we got 5 on board here, so I think we're good. Just want to thank everybody for spending the little bit of a time that we have on this beautiful Friday afternoon, wherever you guys are located, and thanks for Mike as well as painfully going through this with us on this learning curve. I just wanted to say thanks again, and kind of the conversation with you guys as far as celebrating food culture for PetiPet and the time and expertise that everybody's put involved with making it happen for these guys. So I just wanted to, kind of open it up to Mike and ask him, how you got started with the journey of your SQF, and a little background of where you guys came from and where you are today. So if you could open that up for us, Mike, that'd be awesome.
Sure. Thanks, John. And to VeriCuda for organizing, thank you, and everyone who is spending a little time with us today. Thank you as well. So we got started. We are a younger co-manufacturer. We sort of opportunistically had a chance to put some assets together around clean label, better for you stuff. It started off in the pet space, actually, and has since moved into the human space. But definitely one of those situations where it was like from the jump, if we were going to make good on kind of the thesis of our company, quality and safety and everything that goes along with that was going to have to be paramount. So, one of the things we wanted to build into the DNA of the company from the beginning, we had a great recommendation and connection to VeriCuda with this notion of you really don't want to start off in a disorganized fashion and then get big and have to get organized later. You want to try to sort of scaffold that up as you go. And so that was actually one of the greatest, benefits that we were able to work with Mark and the VeriCuda team to, get all of our SOPs and food safety policies and protocols and procedures together. But then at the same time, be sort of implementing the day-to-day tools that we could put in the hands of the team. And we started off with 3 people, so we were able to do a lot of almost literal hand-holding. But now we're 25, almost 30 people. And because, the tools are ingrained, the culture, the tools are downstream of the culture, but then it also reinforces back up. So I would say, John, I can probably pause there before engaging my tendency to ramble if you want to try to direct that energy kind of in one direction or another.
Well, I guess I'm gonna throw that back over to Mark as far as how those guys have helped you take those next steps.
Yeah. Once again, a lot of things in the food industry really depends many times on not what you know, it's who you know. And we were introduced to PetiPet and to Mike and the team there through other business relationships. And what was first thrown there is okay, what do you need to do? And when we first started with it, not only green to manufacturing, I think Mike would say, yeah, we were pretty green to food safety as well. So just starting out a basic food safety program, helping them set up a HACCP plan. And it seemed like one thing always led to another. And as this thing got started, I think something a lot of companies don't see or don't realize, Mike said he started out with a team of 3 and grew to 25. You're not growing to 25 just because you have a little money and you're hiring people. You go to 25 because you're being called in 10,000 different directions. And I think as we get going on this one, Mike can maybe talk it through a little bit, but how many directions did you get pulled on? And sometimes you lose sight on on some of the things you get started with. So I think with PetiPet was a great example. We started with a very simple food safety program, started setting up VeriCuda to manage that part of the program, and all of a sudden, big orders coming in, pulling sideways, expanding your audit scope. A lot of big things came in that I think if you know I feel that the PetiPet team did a great job. But I feel that if we would have waited one more week, we would have been tipped over. And maybe that one more week, Mike, was an exaggeration, but kind of maybe talk to your experience on how these things compound as you if you don't have a program such as this, how these things compound, and all of a sudden you're behind the eight ball in 6 different tasks that were supposed to have been done yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, great. That's a great sort of description of how this works. So one of the things that I don't know is kind of funny about this. I know some of the folks on here who are tuning in probably only know us as Wilmot Productions, and they're hearing PetiPet. It's sort of like, if you've gone by your middle name for most of your life, but like the people who knew you when you were 5 years old still call you Robert, or whatever your first name is. We're getting PetiPet a lot because that was our origins. A great example that I would point to is, we were fortunate to have a customer who just went sort of like nuclear in demand towards the tail half of last year. And we do a lot of packaging and co-packing. And one of the things that, we take very seriously is just inline metal detection. And it's like when we were sort of, it's a one shift operation. It's the same person always running that machine. You sort of told him like, hey, be sure that you set an alarm on your phone and you're always, doing the test for the metal detector so that we're sure that this thing is calibrated and working. And then all of a sudden, literally within a matter of days, we're having to train people up and bring in people that had some expertise but didn't know our company into a whole second shift. We went from running, one shift 5 days a week to 2 shifts 6 days a week. And you've got a wholly different universe of operators. And it became very helpful to have sort of like that DNA of the tools of like, all right, there's going to be an alarm that goes off and you have to make sure you complete this form, which relates to the metal detector. And we'll give you instructions on how we run our test. And you have to complete this form on checking the most recent case off the line. That's going to ask you for, weighing three items from within the bag. And do we have the right count? And do we have the right label? And it's the type of thing that it sounds relatively straightforward, but to be able to, during a period of rapid growth, essentially say like, hey, here's sort of the pop quiz that's coming your way every 60 minutes. And I'm going to show you how to answer it. And one of the things you just need to be really diligent about is passing that pop quiz every 60 minutes. That is just a level of like on the job training and proficiency that was made possible by having kind of like the software with the tools, with kind of the iPad mounting at the operator station, that in turn also tied back to a completely, audit-worthy, best-in-class food safety program. So it's like that sort of like from the boardroom all the way down to, a new person running the machine for the first time, understanding what to watch out for at every different process stop. It was something that was really made, it made the growth possible, and we were hanging on by the skin of our teeth. And I am happy to say it's like it felt like a 30-day fever dream getting 600,000, batches of sour kiwi candy out the door, but we have not had a single safety or quality complaint for all those units that have gone out the door. So we must have done something right.
And to that point, as we got started with a really good organizational file. We had their SQF programs in the document library. We had the building blocks all set for everything to take off. But when it did take off, to like we both alluded to, it was really a perfect storm of what could go wrong. The first thing that, Mike all of a sudden didn't have the time that I would have liked him to commit to this while the audit was due in less than a month type of scenario. So I think that, there's, a big pat on the back for everything the Wilmot crew got completed. But it's, I really feel that we would have been in a world of hurt if we hadn't prepared. But my recommendation on sites going through this is don't forget to plan, because your management team is going to get pulled in 1,000 different directions when it really matters, and every one of them are critical. And if there isn't something to help that process make it through, it's definitely going to impact a lot of different things. And could we have done better on our audit? Yeah, we could have. Is what they did and did accomplish pretty amazing? And I would say absolutely. So it's I'm glad I'm really proud of the support that we provided Mike and the team to help them get through that part of the process.
I would add actually one.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, John. Oh, I was going to say I would just only add to enhance the level of psychosis that we were operating under in this environment. We actually brought on a new head of quality about 2 weeks before our audit, and really needed to emphasize the urgency of getting up to speed in audit prep. And so, again, having a comprehensive suite like VeriCuda, where it's like, here is the sort of official source of truth for our food safety program, and then you can click through from that into, here's the data we're collecting. Here's the data we've not done as good a job collecting. It was pretty much the only way it was going to be possible, because if it was a typical onboarding situation where it's sort of like, the new hire has to sort of be babysat a little bit until occasions come up for me as like the operator to be able to bring them up to speed. It's just we never would have been able to pull it off. So sorry to cut you off, John.
Yeah, no worries. I just wanted to ask about your biggest challenges that you had going through your process.
With VeriCuda specifically, or just this process that we call life?
Well, I guess both. And life does happen.
Yeah, life does happen. The biggest problem or the biggest challenges that we had is being new to food safety and being new to this world, and trying to chase any type of like energy or progress or sense of there being like a vein of good persistent business. But it's not like you're running a t-shirt stand on the boardwalk, right? It's that like the product actually has to fit within safety and responsibility parameters. And so as someone who's more action oriented, you're always wanting to have those dynamic guardrails for yourself. Otherwise, there are people on this call who can probably vouch for times when I've talked or acted myself into a corner or anything because there weren't these sort of like dynamic guardrails. So again, it's sort of like having a quality playbook that people have their hands on every day is a way to like constantly be checking that you're still sort of like on the straight and narrow in a way that actually lets you run and get after it as much as you need to when you're trying to grow a business. Would be my thought there.
So I think with your playbook concept, I'm not sure if Sam can maybe highlight or give some examples of that playbook, and as far as the progress that is made, and you show green light, red light, caution light, yellow light. That would be
just one example we have pulled up here is a training matrix. So alluding back to when Mike onboarded a new employee, hey, what trainings do we need to make sure that they get done? Do we need to provide a GMP training? Do we need to provide an allergen training? And then it just lets you sit back and view this matrix on where you're at for actual completion, as well as any sort of, I know he alluded to the pre-op inspection or the first pass case check, being able to track and trend those as KPIs and see in kind of real time where completion rates are at.
Mike, when did you see I guess, the light at the end of the tunnel, and it was really a light and not a train.
I mean, I'll let you know. No,
Well, no, I'm just talking about this process, not your life.
yeah. I one 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 real concrete example. I mean, to speak just to this crunch that we were in towards the end of the year and the beginning of January. And this was even before getting to the point where it's like making sure that the people you're plugging in are like on the quality side of it. Cause like, as Sam mentioned, like the KPI indicators, like this is not just in kind of our experience, only it's not just like an audit, an audit optimization tool or anything like that. Because one thing that is like a great KPI that we've had a lot of success using, that doesn't actually tie to the food safety plan necessarily, is we do what we call 60-second observations for each of our different machines, where, either the quality manager or myself, or even one of the operators can do a stopwatch, and they, track the machine for 60 seconds, and they're saying, what product is running, what's the time, what's the date, what are the machine settings, and then how many units, say it's a poucher, right? How many pouches got successfully filled in that 60 seconds, and how many pouches got burned? How many of them are going to end up as spillage or waste? And then notes down there. And it's actually shocking the speed with which like we're able to build a file, because I'll do that 60-second check on a new SKU, and then I'll realize that it's like, oh man, the machine was set to 35 bags per minute, but we only filled 29, and that's because the suction cups weren't working, and we actually had to clear out the filter for the bag opening suction cups. Or you'll see, oh, we didn't burn too many bags, but we were under speed because the bag loading wasn't working, and it's because we had this thing or that thing misprogrammed. And so it's become something where it's like 6 or 7 times a day, either myself or you put a new operator in it, and you just say, hey, I want you to record your results for 60 seconds. And then there's this little bit of reflection at the bottom. And as a way to sort of like formalize the getting up to speed process, it's been just awesome for us, in that like it creates a confidence for people to sort of like assert ideas for how the machine is running well or not running as well. Whereas like a lot of times a new hire will like just want to stay quiet and out of the line of fire for as long as they can. So that notion, John, to your question of like light at the end of the tunnel, like as this became something where it's like we're not only collecting the data that we have to, but this is also a way for us to sort of accelerate and speed run and growing our own capacity. I mean, that again, to all the kind of business owners on the call, it's like that's also just been complemented by huge efficiency and throughput gains, which means more revenue, and then you can breathe a little more. And
exactly. You're managing the process and not the people.
Yep, exactly.
So, Mark, maybe you can provide a little insight on some of those observations that Mike has made.
Yeah, so let's push it forward to one of the new requirements that SQF has put into their audit for next year for SQF 10 is change management. And that's what these guys have had to deal with and have dealt with very successfully over the last year. I mean, talk about changes, Mike. You went from a pet treat to a co-pack to a human manufacturing and pet manufacturing and co-pack. I mean, that you've added scope. You realized that you needed to do change. You've had to add more QA management to your operation. Not only added scope, but you've complicated your processes, bringing on things that maybe you haven't had 10 years experience doing. All of these things are what SQF calls change management. And if you do it correctly, and we feel that we have the tools to help you do it, but at the end of the day, what we provide are some insights and some tools, but it's up to the manufacturer to actually make it happen and be successful. But we call that in the industry, a lot of people confuse preventive controls with a cap of something that happened. But if you really go back to ISO management, preventative action is say, okay, I'm going to do something new. We got to change what could fail, and how can we put in systems to address that potential failures ahead of schedule before you do it, and after you've done it, you might have missed something. And I think those are tools that VeriCuda can really help. Tools and insight that we really help companies with is okay. We know we're going to need another check on this new process. Let's put it in. Oh wait, we put it in and we've been doing it for 2 weeks, but we forgot to add something. And the way our systems are set up, we just add that something to what you were doing, and it doesn't take away from it. If there's a deviation or failure, it still is captured and brought to your attention. So to get really good at change management, it's that light hits you every day. It's not are you sure it's not a train? Maybe there's two or three lights and you're only looking at one of them. But once again, I'll go back and give the guys at Wilmot, an attaboy, attagirl. They really did step up and took care of a lot of things. But I just feel that, managing all of these changes, and it's not just the Wilmot group. We work with a lot of plants, and one thing for sure, say death and taxes and changes in food plants. So you will just add 3 to that list. And if you get good at it, it'll make your life easier. One of the things that we like to ask companies that we work with, what keeps you awake at night? Okay, so now that you can put it down on paper, what keeps you awake at night? How can we help you get confidence that that issue is really being controlled, and it's not just, oh, I hope that doesn't happen again.
So after going through the process, Mike, what type of insight and wisdom could you offer other people now that you've gone through? Anything that you would do different or make life easier for yourselves? You're on mute.
Well, first off, I would manage my mute button better. But it's hard to say what you would have done differently, because I mean we are proud of like where we've gotten to now, and is it perfect or are we a perfect company? Like I don't think so, but I also have my doubts about like if I guess this is actually one of the things I would say like within the process that made it really incredible. It's like obviously Mark has maybe been through more plants in North America than anyone alive. And my partners and I were kind of like starting from maybe not square zero, but we weren't too far away from that. And I think the versatility of kind of the VeriCuda team and the like versatility of just like the tool and the way it's conceived, it made it something that it was at first able to be just like a little step ladder for us to start building things, and then it became sort of like a scaffolding, and now it's like a really powerful scaffolding or steel framework or wherever the analogy would take you. So I would say that like one just lesson learned, and I think everyone probably tuning in is pretty well accomplished and has learned this as well. But it's like you always want to find partners that you can learn and grow with, not someone who's gonna like we had spent some time being pitched by Oracle on a similar type software, and it's like unless you're already like a 9th degree black belt ready to drop 80 grand a year on it, it's like it's going to be useless to you. It's going to be just a source of frustration and bells and whistles that you don't understand. So that's maybe my lesson learned is like it's okay to admit that you're in a place of like learning and having to improve, and that's again like one of the things that I think like came out really well throughout the process.
So anything fun about the process? Like going to the dentist?
I mean, it was fun to kind of be working with a company full of Packers fans and have 2 of the best Bears wins over the Packers in the 41 years I've been alive happen in a 3-week span while we were going through our goddamn audit, pardon my French, but no, I mean it's good. It's like everyone involved. Like there's a lot of sanity in the VeriCuda team as a partner, and that especially when you're in a space of like having to learn and grow and get better, like that's super valuable. And that like Mark does our internal audit, and when you have sort of like any type of auditor coming through, like it can be just a very, very like root canal type process. And having like partners with that you're able to just be open about like where you're not strong or where you're worried or where you're sort of like, that seems like either too much of a headache or too heavy a lift and whatever. That just makes it a whole lot better than it could otherwise be if you're just trying to kind of get the hell through every conversation about quality as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah, fun and games. So we're getting close to the end of the half hour, and I kind of want to open it up to our attendees or the people that joined us for the meeting to see if you guys had any questions for Mark or Sam or Mike as far as your adventures of food safety and culture that you guys have.
I have a question. I maybe didn't do my homework ahead of time, but what exactly do you guys offer? Is it like a service? Is it like a ERP system? Or I don't know much about your company, and I probably should have looked it up beforehand. But
Oh, Sam, I think you want to throw that one out there for her.
That's
By the
no
way,
problem.
how much do we owe you, Jennifer, for asking that question?
right. Right. Just a discount.
Yeah, so at VeriCuda, we kind of take a holistic approach at it, right? So, something that Mark brings up constantly, and we didn't do the best of introductions at the beginning of this call. Mark is actually an SQF auditor and consultant. And same with Ron Vale. I'm the project manager for VeriCuda. But we offer, training, we offer internal auditing, and we actually have a quality management system that bolts on. So it's a holistic approach at what I was alluding to, everything from your GMP inspections to your document control, to any of your quality checks that are being performed, to a bolt-on training module that it comes pre-built with the videos that you need for your library. So it's not what can't we or what can we do, it's what can't we do. So hopefully that answers your question a little better, Jennifer.
So you have like the modules already built out, because we
Yep.
manufacture food contact packaging, and we have all of these programs, but they're everywhere, and so we don't have like a central database. So is that like up your
So
realm?
it's everything would be housed in one location. So it is a quality management software is a loaded statement.
Yeah.
But yes, everything from your document to your control to your CAPAs to your, like I alluded to, your GMP inspections, your
Mhm.
monthly management review. And we're happy to reach out after the call and actually give
Yeah.
a full demo on what the software looks like.
Our audit's in 4 weeks, so
So that's our typical request is shit, Sam, our audit's in 3 weeks, fix it now.
Yeah.
So
okay. No, definitely reach out because I'm very interested.
Well, I guess that's a question of how committed is your management team to be able to get that done in 4 weeks.
We have yearly audits, so this isn't new for us, but it's just we're growing. We're very much like Mike. We're a newer company, and so we're growing, but we need to get a central. I didn't know there was such a thing where it can go after all shifts, and just instead of a million binders everywhere and iPads all throughout the factory, we actually have like a central database with all the information. And so when one of you auditors asks us a question, we don't have to like run around looking for it.
Well,
So
if you haven't started drinking, you may want to start now.
I know. So yes, please reach out. I would appreciate it.
Very good question. Thank you. Others out there, as far as details and questions, answers, we have
I
hit
just have
our.
one more. Who did
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
who did you use for your SQF? Like what auditing body, Mike?
We use Mariu, and it was our second audit.
Okay.
The first
Heard out of
audit
Mike.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
All right.
it was your third audit though, Mike.
It was our third.
You
No.
did-
Oh yeah, it was
you
our
did-
third audit. Yeah.
You did the
Yeah. All right.
extension. And
See, this
touch on that.
this is one of this
touch
is
on
the
that a bit.
ongoing real-time support we get here from the VeriCuda team. We had probably like a very, very thorough auditor for this most recent audit, and it was coming at like we weren't even we were just so slammed that we weren't able to like make sure we were running easy products. Like it was a complete madhouse. We use VeriCuda though, so they're Chicago based. We found them to be like really responsive and good. I mean, it's the only one we've ever used, so I don't have like a ton of basis for comparison, but pretty happy.
What's the name? I've never heard of them. We use AIB, so that's
VeriCuda, MERIEUX. They're down on Michigan Avenue.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because when we use AIB, we always have to pay for their travel, and they're never in.
Mhm.
Congrats, Mike.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Yes, congratulations.
To that degree, Jennifer, we also work with several certification bodies. Mary is one of them, and we help you find the best fit as well. So we know them. We know them by name, and we make sure that we don't get involved into your relationship with them, but they do give good service for our sites, and it's a win-win situation.
Good to know. Thank you.
How about others in our group? Greg, Roberto, Ryan, Claudia, Samuel?
No, I've met Mike before. He's been down in my facility. Tom, we went through a presentation before. Our audit is actually, we're not SQF. We're CGMP audit, HACCP audited. It's actually next Tuesday. And after that, we're going to look at maybe going to SQF. We're going to kind of take a closer look at VeriCuda. I did like what I saw originally.
Very good. Fun times on Tuesday.
Yeah, right.
So any stump the auditor questions that Mark, you can throw out there for him?
Full transparency is always your best option. Don't never, when you go through an audit, make it appear to the auditor you're trying to hide anything. Throw it at the table. Don't be embarrassed. You're going to miss some things. But the worst thing you can do while you're being audited is to hesitate because you're not 100% confident in your information, and have that hesitation read by the auditor as what are these guys hiding, right? Don't just throw it on the table. And most auditors appreciate that, and it usually results in a lot better audit.
100% correct. Yep.
Yeah, good insight there. So we got a little chat going on the side. Anybody else have any questions that we can hash out? Any more audits coming up or concerns about potential audits?
Not for me.
Ever since I started working with VeriCuda, I love being audited. That's my soundbite.
I sense some sarcasm.
Yeah.
So anybody else have any insight that you'd want to close with or offer any some wisdom? Well, I think if there's any other questions, we can always be reached. You got our contact information. I'm sure that we're going to send you guys a thank you email for participating. And if there's any more information you guys need from us or additional information, even talking to Ron or Mark as far as getting some questions answered after the fact was perfectly fine. Just want to thank you guys for participating, and congratulations to Mike and his team for crossing the goal line. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Woo-hoo.
Thanks Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mike.
Have a great
Great.
weekend, guys.
All right.
Have a great
Look forward
weekend.
to it.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye, thank you.